I'm bisexual.
I'm transgender.
I am gay.
I'm gay.
I'm gay.
I am transgender.
I am gay.
I am bisexual.
I'm pansexual.
I can remember the moment when I realised that I wasn't straight. I was walking through school when I was in year 10 and I turned to the left and I saw a guy there and I was like, oh, he's pretty cute. And then I was like, wait, what? And so I just pushed that thought to the back of my head.
After coming out to myself, it actually took me about 3 months to be ready to start coming out to other people.
Matt told me that he was pansexual when we were talking about school, actually, in his house. We were hanging out in his house and we were talking about like bullying and stuff at school, and it was kind of like, is there any bullying at school you go to? And I was like, no. And then he was like, oh, okay, I was just wondering because I'm like pansexual. And I was like, you're pansexual, really? And that immediately eliminated every conversation we'd had before that, because I was like, oh my god, you're pansexual.
After coming out to Jackson, and with that being so successful, I then decided to come out to other people in my life who were the most important to me.
Yeah, so Matt came out to me when he was visiting over here in Australia, where I live, and yeah, so we were just like having the family over, and yeah, he kind of told me when we were in private.
Matt came out to me one night. I was just lying on the lounge watching television, and he came over and said, Mum, there's something I've got to tell you.
So me, Matt and Hayden were walking home as we do every day and joking around like we normally do. We were messing about, told a couple jokes, and then basically to coincide with one of the jokes, or just more out of nowhere, Matt just came out like, hey, oh yeah, I'm pan, and me and Hayden were just like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. We kind of just brushed it off because Matt's cool, we don't mind.
So Matt came out to me, we were both at home and we were watching TV, and he walked over to the cupboard under the stairs and stood in there for like 5 seconds, then opened the door and walked out and was like, I'm pansexual.
My initial reaction when he told me was, it was pretty anticlimactic. I really didn't mind. It's a cool thing for someone to be able to trust you like that and tell you something like that. I was the first person he told as well, so it's kind of like a whole new level of comfort. It's like, wow, that's, okay. That was basically my reaction was, all right, cool.
Yeah, so when Matt told me that about it, my first reaction was, I was happy for him, because, if it's what makes you happy, then that's the best part about it, I guess.
My initial reaction when Matt told me, funnily enough, was, okay, I've got to be really careful what I say here. It's really important that I say the right thing. So in my brain, I was trying to think of what the right thing was to say. And I was a little bit surprised, because he's had, mostly little girlfriends in the past when he was younger. So it was a little bit of a surprise, but not a complete shock. But yeah, I was worried about saying the wrong thing.
So my first reaction was more along the lines of skepticism, like, oh, is he just messing with us for the joke? But then he's like, oh no, it's like legit and not faking around or anything. And so then my other reaction was, well, what the hell does pan mean? So I guess me and Hayden asked him, and then he explained it, so it became clear, and we kind of accepted him for it because, hey, he's Matt, he's our friend.
My initial reaction was, I was quite surprised, but I grew up in the theatre community, which does include a lot of LGBT people, so I was quite already used to it and I've already been quite exposed to it, but I didn't actually know what pansexual meant. I was kind of like, is he attracted to saucepans? Like, what?
In regards to how has coming out changed my life, I would definitely say it has, and for the better. Since coming out, I felt a lot happier with who I am.
Bi people were 4 times more likely to report attempted suicide at some point in their life. Compare that to gay and lesbians, who were twice as likely. About half of all LGBT people report that all or most of the important people in their life know about their identity. For gay and lesbian people, that rate climbs to about 3/4. And bi people, less than 1/3 say that they are out to all or most of the important people in their life.
Yeah, and it's definitely been better for my relationships with other people. I feel like I'm a lot closer to my friends and my family now.
When it comes to has our relationship changed, it really hasn't at all. It's actually, it's as if our relationship has always been the same. Nothing's worse, nothing's just changed. It's just always been fine.
Yeah, so Matt telling me hasn't really changed anything about our relationship at all. Still my cousin, still family. I still see him the same way I did.
I don't think it's changed our relationship at all. We're really close. Matt and I have got a really good bond. So, yeah, it doesn't matter to me about anything of his sexual orientation or anything. We get on really well, and I don't think that's changed at all.
I really don't think it's changed how we view each other. I mean, our group are all just a bunch of good friends. So we joke around, but that's just how the group works, really. So it hasn't changed much. We just accept him for who he is, because he's our friend.
I wouldn't say Matt coming out has changed our relationship at all. If anything, we've definitely gotten closer because I feel like I know him better as a person now.
The reason why coming out is important is because of the lack of representation of LGBT people in society and in media. So, especially for me, identifying as pansexual, because I didn't know anyone else who was pansexual, and I definitely didn't know anyone who was pansexual and was a guy. So that was really important for me for coming out. Yeah, and coming out was also important because of things like the Pulse nightclub shooting.
Good morning, I'm Dara Brown. There's breaking news at this hour from Orlando, where there are reports of a shooting at a nightclub in that city.
Early Sunday morning, the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida, was the site of the worst mass shooting and the worst act of homophobic terrorism in U.S. history.
Breaking news out of Orlando, the terror attack on a gay nightclub.
Which just highlighted the fact that LGBT people are still hated by some people, and that by coming out it sends a message that we're not scared, we will not be silenced, and that we're human, and that all we want is to be treated like everyone else.
I think the biggest thing as advice to people who have a friend that's come out or wants to come out is basically just don't ruin it. Don't be like rude about it. It's okay. It's one thing to be awkward about it, because it's a shock to a lot of people because that you don't expect it. But don't ruin their life over it, and don't like cut them off. Just kind of accept it and move on.
Yeah. So my advice for if someone came out to you would just embrace it. Don't like try to stop them. That's them. You know, be supportive as well. It's still them. Like, you can't change that.
My advice for people in a similar situation, especially if you're the parent, is just to accept your kids for what they are, listen to what they've got to say. You're going to love them anyway, no matter what. They're your kids. Be open. Maybe find out a little bit more about it, because to be honest, I had no idea what pansexual was, so I had to do a little bit of research about that. So find out a little bit more. Don't judge. Just love them for who they are.
If I had any advice for anyone that was in my position with a friend who was coming out, it's that they aren't changing. They're still the same person. I mean, they're the person that you became friends with. They're the person that you hang out. Just because they have different preferences doesn't make them a different person.
My advice for anyone who has someone LGBT in their life would be just accept them. Like, they're still the same person they were before they came out to you. Like, it doesn't change who they are.
In terms of advice for people who want to come out, my advice would be that the most important thing with coming out is your safety. So only come out if you know that you're going to be safe. Also, so if you know that you're going to be safe, then that fact that there's no wrong time to come out, the only wrong time to come out is when you're dead. But yeah, there's no wrong time to come out, and that a lot of the time it can be smooth sailing, straight from the get-go. But if people don't accept you, they're not worth your time, and that you are beautiful, no matter who you love, you are still human, and that all we want is for people to let us be.
Living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be.